So that is the precedence, the general like flow or the mechanism when we say like different kind of rules. But what if we have multiple rules in a single set of uh, uh, a single set of a kind of rule? So as we discussed, so we say constraints, so there might be like tens or hundreds of constraint rules on the in the tool, or there might be tens of hundreds of recommendation rules in the tool. So which rule should run first? So that we'll see.
Karthik,
Yeah.
instead of going like this, what if we create some attributes and create some rules and see how it works in on the interface? Is it possible?
Yeah, that is possible, but that will take very long time. Like, so we need to create these different kinds of rules, and we need to show, right. So we need
Okay.
to deploy. So that will take much longer time.
Okay, then tomorrow maybe I'll try that. I'll
Yeah,
create.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So for example, if we have multiple rules, so we are not sure. Like, so for example, here we have four rules. We don't know like how when the rule should trigger, or what is the priority of the rule. Can the fourth rule can trigger before first rule or not? We are not sure. So we just defined basing on our requirement or the use case we came across in the project or task. So but we are not sure how when they will trigger. So for that there is an order. What they follow is, so what all the rule can what all are dependent on this rule execution order is. So let's write at them side. So rule order number required. So what are all required for the rule execution order is like to organize something or to manage or the mechanism. So these are the four things they're dependent on: rule order number, rule inputs count, rule condition, and attributes order. So let's see what are all these. So we have, so we see the attributes list, right? So where we can find, so wherever in the hierarchy we create, so we can go there and we can see them. So now as we created at the let's open some any other model. I'll open this. There are some changes happened in the site, like not sure, like some other people who are using my ton. So we can see the scope of product families got decreased. Only few product families are available. If in case your product family got remote support, or it got deleted, or you are unable to see, you can create a new one and you can go ahead. Okay, it's there only one. So here you can see multiple attributes list, right? So you can observe the second column here. So this is the order of the attribute. So this is the like priority when we say talk about attributes order here, right? So one of the thing it is required to like measure this or estimate this rule execution order is attributes order. So there is a priority for these required things also. So I'll write the priority as well. Okay. So here the first priority will be attributes order. So whenever we need to like estimate the rule execution order, we need to track the rule execution order. So these are the required things. Out of these required things, so we have some priorities. So let's rank the priorities. So first priority will be the attributes order. So whenever there is a rule and it needs to be run, so it just won't run. It depends on the attributes order. So that attributes order is having the first priority. That is nothing but if you see the attributes list here in the second column, we can see the number here. So if as we are seeing multiple rules, so whatever the rules are having this first attribute as an action attribute, so they will run first. Is it clear? So whatever so there are 100 rules, all those rules won't run at a time or just like that. So it forget the concept of the rules. For to execution of the rules, what it will pick first is it will come to the attributes like list. So what are all the attributes present on this tool? So it will go through the list of attributes like basing on the this attribute order. So whatever the attribute order is having like one for that attribute, it will pick that attribute. Now it will see on that attribute how many rules are there. Like if it's as we are talking about recommendations, how many recommendation rules are there? If we're talking about constraint, how many constraints are there? So it will select an attribute first by the order. So as operating systems is the first attribute, it will select operating systems. It will check what are all the rules, how many rules are there, how many recommendation rules are there for this attribute. So it can see like there are 4 recommendation rules for that attribute. So at 1, at 2, 3. So it will consider your first attribute which is having the order number as 1. It will pick and it will see how many rules are there, how many recommendation rules are there. So then out of those 4 recommendation rules, there are again 3 items like to consider to extend the like or to categorize or to filter the proper rule to execute. So the second priority will be rule condition. So for the first thing, it selected one attribute which is having the highest order. So it selected an attribute and it will check what are all the recommendation rules there for it. Okay, so there are 3 attributes. Out of that first order number we selected, attribute 1 we selected. So now what it will check is how many rules are there for that. So we found 4 rules for that. Okay, so now we need to filter among out of 100 rules, we got 4 rules for this particular attribute. Now the second out of 4 rules it should pick one, right? So the second criteria it will check is rule condition. So it will check whether these rules are always true or having some condition. So let's treat this as condition. Let's suppose 80 always true, condition, condition, condition. Okay, so out of these 4 rules it will check whatever the rules are having always true. So as the first rule 3 is having always true, so without condition, so it will execute rule 3 first. So now we are 3 more rules left. We have 3 more rules left. So those 3 are having some conditions. As we are said, always true will run first. So it executed always true. So then it will execute. It needs to execute the rules with having conditions. So where this always run condition will be there, So you can see the rule editor, right? We already seen the rule editor. There are three sections in the rule editor. First section will be the information section related to the rule, and second part is condition, and the third part is action part. So this always true or condition it will check at the second section. So there we can see always true, simple condition, advanced condition, right? So if it's always true, it will give high priority. If it's condition, it will give second priority. So now it will shift to the condition scope. Wait, so as there is only one always true, so it executed R3. So what if it's we having multiple always trues? So let's suppose for this first attribute, instead of 4 rules, so there are 5 rules. So let's suppose, and that fifth rule is also having always true. So then what it will do is it will follow this order number, as there is having multiple always true conditions. So then it will go with multiple like rule inputs. So whatever this two priorities are done, so we came across again conflict. So now we came across rule condition. So out of rule condition, we need to give high priority to the always true. Then we need to execute the condition based rules. So now out of always true, we have R3 and R5. So these two are having same priority, always true. So out of these two, what we need, how can we filter it? So out of these true rules, it will check rule inputs count. This is the third priority. So what is rule inputs count? So we open any rules, right? If we observe the rule editor in the action part, I'm randomly opening some section. So there are no rules. I'm just adding one. Okay, this is the condition section what we just discussed. So if it checks are always true, if there are multiple always trues, then it needs to do some other priority check. And if it's always condition based rules, if it's having multiple condition based rules, it needs to do some other priority check. Okay, so now we have multiple always true rules. So out of that, we need to select which rule needs to be triggered. So R3 and R5 are two rules which are having as always true in the condition section. So now we opened we'll need to open those two rules, and we need to check the rule inputs count. Where can we find the rule inputs count? In the action section, if we select the action attribute is nothing but your attribute 1, because you are going from the list of attributes, right, basing on the order. So you need to go to your attribute, you need to check. So for that action, the rule may have multiple action attributes. You need to check your respective action attribute only. So ATT1 is your current attribute. You need to check that. Select it and open its function. So this is the rule editor, right? Here you can see the first tab. So as we discussed, whatever the attributes here we add are whichever we need in the logic as inputs. If we are using, if we are writing some logic, we may need the dependency of other attributes, right? So that attributes we need to import here. So this count is nothing but the rule inputs count. We call this attributes as rule inputs. And when we have like same number of condition based rules, like we have multiple condition based rules, so from that, to take the priority, we need to count these rules. For example, these two are always true, right? So we'll open rule 3 and we'll open the respective action attribute, and we'll check how many rule inputs are there for this rule. For example, there are 3 rule inputs for this attribute. Okay, let's assume R3 is having 3 rule inputs. We also check rule 5 for that ATT1 attribute. In the rule 5, how many rule inputs are there? For R5, there is only one rule input. So out of this R3 and R5, it will check which is having higher number of rule inputs. It checked rule 3, it checked R5. So 3 inputs here and 1 input here. So it will pick this one. because this is having the highest number of rule inputs. Like that, if there are multiple rules, even here also it will count everything, and it will go with the rule inputs having highest number of count. So now we can say here R3 will, sorry, R3 will run first and R5 will run at second, basing on the rule inputs count. And what if there are same number of rule inputs? For example, if we have 6 rules here, and this is also always true, okay, and we also counted the rule inputs of rule 6, and this is having also 3 rule inputs. So again there is a conflict. So we filtered the rules basing on the first attributes order. So then we shifted to rule condition. Rule condition is having second priority, so it has 2 wings. So one is always true, one is condition based. Always true we need to pick first. So we filtered always true rules. So there are 3 rules: rule 3, rule 5, and rule 6. Okay, that's fine. So we filtered all these 3. So now when there are 3 rules, we need to do some other priority check. That is nothing but the number of rule inputs count. If we see in the priority table, so we can see the third priority is rule inputs count, right? So out of this all always true, we need to check rule inputs count. We counted it: 3, 1, and 3 is the count. So we can, if it's only like a single count, single majority is like a single number, it's not redundant. So we can directly pick, if it's 2 rule inputs, we can pick R3 directly. But here in the case, R6 and R3 is having the same number of rule inputs. So again, we need to do some other priority check to pick out of these 3. So the fourth priority is rule order number. It's 4. Here the fourth priority is rule order number. So now out of this R5, R3, and R6, so these 3, 6 are nothing but the order numbers we are maintaining, right? So what is the order number priority? Through 3 is the highest priority order than 6. So then basing on this rule order number, we need to select here after R3, we need to select R6. So R6 will execute first. Sorry, R3 will execute first because it's having the highest priority. Then the lower priority is R6. Okay, 2 rules are done. So this priority is done. So whatever the rules left in this filter, like in the above filter, we need to go for that. So R5 R5 is left. So we need to put R5 after these 2. Okay. So 3 rules are done. So out of these 6 rules, this is the order of first 3 rules which are going to execute. So now what are left? We have the rules which are having the condition, either simple condition or advanced condition it can be. So it is dependent on that condition based, as we are done with the always true rules. So now we need to filter R1, R2, and R4. These 3 rules are condition based rules. We are done with the always true rules, it's fine. So now we have condition based rules. Again, if we see about them, condition based, we are at the second priority level if you observe. So after this there are 3 rules, so we need to pick either one of them which is having highest priority. How can we check? After the condition, so the next priority will be again rule inputs count here. So we need to check how many rule inputs are there. For example, this is having 1 rule input, this is having 3, this is having 5. So as there is no like redundancy of rule input, same rule input count is like unlike in the attribute like always true rules, so it is easy for us. So which is having the highest rule inputs, we can filter it. So R4 and R2 and R1. So we ordered it. So basing on the number of rule inputs count, 5 is having most most number, biggest number. So we put R5, R4, and then 3. So R2, and then one rule input. So rule 1. So this is the order. So unlike here, if you observe, so there are two rule inputs are matching. So here that is not the case. So in this case, we don't need the help of fourth priority, which is nothing but the rule order number. When the number of rule inputs is like matching, so then only you need to do the like further priority check, nothing but the rule order number. Here there is no such case, right? So that's why we can simply consider this order. So this is how the order will execute. Is it clear?
Karthik, I have one question, Karthik, about this rule input count. Can you explain me what exactly is the count based on that?
Okay, what is rule input count, your question?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is the rule, right?
Yes.
So this is the introduction part, and this is the
Yes.
conditions.
Huh?
This is the action part.
Yeah.
So here we have action attributes. Action attributes are nothing but using this rule, what is the change we are expecting? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that is nothing but our action attribute. So with the
Yeah.
single rule, modify like different rules. For example, with this rule, I can set student ID 1 attribute is there. For example, student IDs are the attributes. So student ID 1, I can set his name, and student ID 2, I can set the second student name. So like that. So those are all multiple action attributes. Okay.
Mhm.
So in this, if we consider our action attribute, what is current action attribute? How can we define it? Current action attribute is nothing but this first attribute.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because we are dependent on at the highest level attributes order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever the rule we are going, so that rule must contain that action attribute. So out of all the action attributes, we need to select it. Okay. So that's fine. We selected it. So now in the action part, so we need to select the code. So where we write the BML logic, we need to go for it. Okay. So this is the editor I got opened. So this is the logic we write. Written Karthik. So this is a written like single written statement. What if there is 100 lines of logic here? So that logic might require some inputs. It's not mandatory, but it might require some inputs. So some inputs like is nothing but whatever the values we need to use on our logic. So those inputs or those values we need in our logic are nothing but rule inputs. Those inputs will be added here. For example, let's take a small example of calculation. So we need to populate the total attribute. Total is an attribute, we need to populate it, but to do the total we need some dependencies. For example, there is number 1 attribute and number 2 attribute. Number 1 is containing 10 and number 2 is containing 20. Okay, so on the UI, num1, num2 and total, these are the three attributes. Okay, so
Okay.
now total is the attribute 1 here.
Yeah.
This attribute can assume as total. Okay, for this
Yeah.
rule we need two rule inputs, nothing but we need to calculate total, right? So we need two numbers, so num1 and num2. Here this action attribute is total and our rule inputs is here we need to add num1. We need to search, we need to find that as it is not there, it's not showing in the drop down, so we need to search it, we need to add it, we need to add one more row, num2. We need to add like this, because if we won't add those attributes as rule inputs, we can't access whatever the values there on the UI for those attributes. So this is what. So when we try recommendation rules like with some examples, so then we understand the use of this rule inputs. So we need to access them, right, in the logic. So for that to access, so we need to add this as rule inputs here. We call them as rule inputs, but these are the required values for our logic. That's it.
Yeah. Got it.
Clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Can Karthik,
Yeah.
sorry, the other one, Karthik. So the last one is the rule order number, right? The
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
priority. So which means that rule input order, right? Honestly.
No. 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 Rule inputs count. We are done, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the fourth priority is? This is the attribute like rule editor. I'm closing it.
Okay.
So this is the rule editor. I'm closing it.
Okay.
So you can see this recommendation rules list, right? This is the page.
Uh-huh.
How can we get to this page? Out of the model or product line or family, we need to select recommendation option and we need to click list. So this is
Yes.
the page which will show all the recommendation rules list.
Okay.
Okay. So all those recommendation rules list will having, you can see this order column here.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
saw the order for the attributes, right? So if we have multiple attributes in the second column, there is order number 1, 2, 3 like that. So similarly, these rules will also have some order number. So when
Okay.
all these priorities are done, so we are left with the only order number. That's it. So this here we saw, right? So there are two rules which are having similar rule inputs, three inputs. So then we have the worst condition to pick basing on this order number. What is the first rule in the list? So it is rule 3. We need to pick it. What is the next priority of order? Rule 6. We need to pick it. That's it.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think like once we did some kind of a small example on this thing, then I think better understand. I think now I have the high level meaning of what they meant by, but
Yeah.
yeah, if we need any live coding or some kind of an example on this thing, that will help us a lot basically.
Yeah, I'll try to give you one example. So you can try that. So I won't tell you the raw requirements. So I will tell you just the like sentential requirement. So what needs to be done. So you can think what are the attributes required, and you can frame what can be the what will be the better order. So then you can you will get to know any doubts, like new doubts you will get to know. So then we'll discuss on that.
Okay, Karthik. Yeah.
Um,
Actually, Karthik, if it's Karthik possible, you can send us an email with that, questionnaire, right? And that will
yeah,
help us. Instead of, if you can just tell us on the fly, it's really hard for us to remember to recall that question. So, if possible, send that questionnaire to us directly, and we
yeah,
can think of what exactly you meant by. Then we'll try to do what we can do.
yeah. Okay, okay. I'll do that. So
Thank
for
you,
this
Karthik.
rule order, so we'll let's confine it to a different task, and we'll work on it.
Okay.
Okay. So next, uh, do you have anything any like you have doubts in any particular concept in the configuration so far? So now like I came till like order of rule execution. Now I am only left with style sheets, JavaScript and file manager. Okay. So I don't want to jump into it because like this is the commerce section, config section, right? So we'll be using this style sheets and JavaScript even in the commerce section. So I thought of like covering it all together. So if I talk about style sheets and JavaScript, if I like show you the places where we can use in the commerce, so you won't be knowing like what is that area and what is that use of commerce. So that's why I'm thinking like push this to the like further sessions. I can show you the file manager. Okay. Yeah. I showed you the data tables, right?
Sorry, what?
Data tables.
.NET tables? Uh,
Data
I
table,
think
BML.
You showed us
Data
table. What is .NET?
Data table.
Oh, data
uh,
table.
yeah, in the admin page, in the developer tools, we can find there will be a data table link.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our logic, we said right, for our Excel sheet, we need to pull some data from the data table.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to create a data table and you need to pull it from that. So that's where you will practice that. And let's go to the admin page again. See, in our tool, in our logic, so we may need to use, we may need to access different files. For example, you are showing, you are using a HTML attribute. Okay, so in that you can design whatever the thing, or you can style whatever the thing it's required. Okay, if it's a text, you can add, and if it's HTML tags, you can add. But what if you want to like show some image or include some file or something like that? You want to deal with the files. So in that script, in that HTML attribute, there is a chance of using files. There is a scope for that. So how we will get that files? So we can't store that file in our workstation or somewhere. So we can't access that file remotely from this tool. So for that, we need to maintain those files in our CPQ tool. For that, there is a section here in the admin page. If you observe in the utilities, like bottom right side, in the utilities section, you can find the file manager link. I'm opening it. So here you can see facility to organize them with the help of folders, and you can see all the list of things can be done for the files. You can search for the file, you can add file, you can add multiple files by zipping it. So like that. So whatever the folder you select, it will show the list of files in that particular folder, and it is having filters to like check with the filter name. Like if you select n, it will show the all the list of files which are starting with n. So like that. So there is a filter, and you can search with the file name and like that. So there you can browse files, you can browse multiple files if you want to add it a single go. So you need to zip them and you can upload that file and you can click add file like that. uh, so this is where if you want to access some image, in your like HTML attributes, you are displaying something. So as we discussed yesterday, right? So there is a task which you need to create the letter view. So if it's you need to format, you need to show some letter view on the on the configuration screen. So what the general letter will contain, the to address from or subject body, and at the end signature, right? So we can't sign it in the site. So for the to store the signature, what we need to do, so we need to extract the e-signature or image of it. So we need to store that image in this file manager. So there whatever the file you store, so there will be some path to it. Every file, it will be having some path. So let's open some folder. I'm going to the default folder to avoid the confusion. So he can we can see the list of files here, right? Sorry. So if you click any of these files, I'm just clicking it, this file. Okay. If you see, this is not an error. By mistake, I thought like that. So you can see the URL. In this URL, this is a.png. So this is some requirement for some, I don't know, for someone. So they added this image. So if you see this URL here, this file name is a.png. They stored in this folder. So for that, whatever they upload in this folder, so it will generate the path for it. So whenever you want to use any file in your any location in your HTML attribute or in some other place, so you need to use this URL and you need to map it there. For example, if you are using HTML attribute, if you need to put an image, so you will include image tags, and in the source attribute, you'll enclose this path in the quotations. So that's how you will refer your images or your files. And not only images, so we can upload CSS files here, JavaScript files here. So when we come across those sections, so you will get to know how to use a CSS file, how to use a JavaScript file. We can see in the further sessions. So we can also store like along with the images, we can store like CSS files, JavaScript files, like that, XSL files. So there will be, we can store different types of files. Based on the requirement, we'll use it. So whenever you want to map something, some file, so remember that you just need to click that file in the file manager. So it will open a new window for that file, and you can find that path in the address bar. So that's like the basics related to like summary of file manager. And so now I'm done with I'm left with JavaScript and CSS for configuration, and we need to start commerce.